All right, guys, welcome back. Now we are still on the 9.5 line of best fits. Well, now we're going to do the proportion part. Now, this regression model on your TI calculator is another way that you could go ahead and put in that information and get out your line of regression. I think the way that we did previously, so this one tends to be, this one right here, tends to be a little bit easier to navigate. That's why I added those here. However, if you want to try out this method right here, you're more than welcome to do so. You should come out with the same stuff. It just keeps you from having to do the scatter plot. All right, so we're going to look at the proportions part. So if we're talking about proportions, then we are discussing the relationship between two things. This is saying that we can, because they should be proportional, we can find out information about the entire population, knowing information about a sample of that population. So the first thing that we're going to remember to do is that we want to remember to cross multiply when we are using proportions. So we're going to remember to cross multiply. That means we're going to do B times C and A times D. Then we are going to set them equal to each other. So then set equal. Okay. So these are the things that we want to make sure that we remember. We're going to go right into an example to show you how to do this. So this video is going to be really short. I just didn't want to tag it on the end of the other one and make it about 15 minutes. So we're going to go into this right quick. So what we're looking at for this one is, well, our example says a school wants to know how many students purchase lunch in the cafeteria on any given day. A survey was taken of a class of 30. So we start off with the total. The total number in the class is 30. Okay. And then in which 18 students said that they ate lunch in the cafeteria. So 18 said they ate lunch in the cafeteria. So that's 18 of the 30. So what percent of the sample eats in the cafeteria? So I have 18 over my 30. Okay. If I have 18 over my 30, I'm going to set it equal. And if I want to find out the percent, I'm just going to divide 18 by 30, which is going to give me 0.60. If I'm turning my decimal into a percent, I'm going to move it twice, 1, 2, which means my new decimal point goes here, or I have 60%, which is a pretty easy thing to follow with. Sounds good. So now there's two ways that I can do this last part. I'm going to show you the proportion way, and then I'm going to show you the just taking the percent part. So if you're just given the two proportions and you don't find the percent, then you can set these up. So in this case, it says I have 3,100 students, and I want to know how many I would expect to eat lunch in the cafeteria on any given day. So that's the part that I don't know. So that's my variable. That's my X. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my problem. I'm going to say I have the 3,100 and I have my X. Because I don't know how many of that 3,100. I'm going to set it equal to what I do know, which is my proportion from the previous part of this problem. So on that part, I know that 18 of the 30 ate lunch. Remember, this is where we're going to cross multiply. So when I reset up my problem, I'm going to have 30 times my X, which is going to be equal to my 3,100 times my 18. Okay, in order to get X by itself, I'm going to divide everything by 30. That's going to cause this to cancel out. I'm going to have X is equal to, I'm just going to plug this into my calculator, and it's going to give me 1860. So since I now have my 1860, so I can expect that 1,860 students would eat lunch in the cafeteria on any given day. Is there another way to find this amount here? Absolutely. We can simply take So, or we can simply take our 3,100 and we can multiply it by 0.6, which is at 60% as that decimal. When I do that, I come up with the exact same number. We have to make sure that we're multiplying by the percent in decimal form, and I'm left with the 1860. Still students who are going to eat lunch in the cafeteria on any given day. So there's two ways that you can arrive at that solution. I don't care which road you take as long as you end up at the house. So that's going to give you a couple options for that one. And we're going to make sure that we are taking that into consideration when we are looking at how we're setting up those proportions. You don't always have to solve like this here. However, it is one method that you can do it. The other one would just be to multiply once you find that percent. So there are always a few more options when solving proportions, but this does go along with the end of the 9.5 section on lines of best fit and proportions. So we're all good to go on 9.5. See you in 9.7.